Hi everyone, I am just here to show you a little bit more about how to collect your Dutch sample and send it in. So you'll get an envelope and the outside will look like this, and there are a bunch of components inside. The first one I would just take a look at is going to be your requisition form, and the most important thing you want to fill out here for the lab is what time you did your samples. And then for us, a really important thing is any medications or supplements you're taking while you're doing the sample, especially anything like birth control or hormone replacement therapy, anything like that will be really important for us to know so we can take it into consideration when looking at the samples. Also, any supplements that affect hormones will be important as well. So you'll fill out this form and you can either decide you're going to do the samples at a very specific time because you know ahead of time, or you can fill out the time you do it later. But you do want to just kind of get that order form ready first. And what you're going to get is a series of instructions in this kind of booklet that everything is inside. And it's pretty detailed. There are some restrictions on foods and beverages that you can use. For example, if you eat cherries, it will show high melatonin. So you want to avoid certain things that are listed there for a certain amount of time before the test to make the sample purely what's going on in your body and not affected by supplements or foods. So there are a few things like that that will affect the metabolites, and for like the cherries will make melatonin look high even if it's normal. So you want to just take a look at those foods to avoid: avocados, bananas, fava beans, things like that, and it's all listed there for you. And it's 48 hours before collection. You want to avoid those. And then unless you've been told otherwise by your coach, you're going to be collecting this between days 19 and 22 of a 28-day cycle. So they can guide you more if something's off with your cycle. But that is a point in the cycle where estrogen and progesterone are both high and we can get a good reading on them. If for some reason your sample is a different time, and that can't work out for you, we just need to know so we can take it into consideration and interpretation. So inside this collection kit, you'll have all of these little teeny samples, and you're basically just peeing on them. So they look like this. If you open them up, there's some paper there that can be saturated. So it has where you fill out the time and date and your name and birth date and all the info for them. And then each one is listed, like this is the extra overnight. So we have waking, right when you wake up. Don't wait, right when you wake up, first morning pee. And then 2 hours after waking, we have a dinner time, a bedtime, and then an extra overnight sample if you wake up to pee in the middle of the night. And I find it helpful to fill these out mostly ahead of time so they're ready to go. And I find some types of pens will smear when you fill it out. So just be careful. This style of pen will smear, which is fine. You can use it. Just note that you won't be able to touch it for a little while afterwards, or that type of pen will smear on this glossy paper. But I like to fill them out ahead of time and open them up and just kind of leave them in my bathroom where I'm going to take the sample, ready to go in order, especially first thing in the morning or the middle of the night. So you can just grab the next one and you don't have to try to read them or figure them out. And the easiest thing to do is just hold this paper, absorbent paper part under the stream of pee. And I kind of like to turn it around and really get it saturated. If for some reason you have more water, they tell you how much fluids you can have. If you have too much water, it dilutes the sample and you may have to redo it. You may get rejected and have to redo it. So you want a sample that's kind of yellow on the paper when it dries. And they tell you, don't have any fluids for 2 hours before the sample and things like that to get a good concentrated sample. And another thing you could do if you don't want to pee on the strip is you could pee in a cup and then dip it in the cup. That's another way to do it. And the other thing I would say, if you're at work or you're on the go or something, when you need to collect the sample, what I did before at work is I would just take like a paper bag or a shopping bag like this, and then do the sample in the bathroom, and I would just kind of keep it open and just kind of place it at the bottom of the bag like this. And that way it dries and it doesn't have to touch anything else, and you just have a shopping bag. You don't have anything weird, because you do need to keep them open and drying for 24 hours before you close them up and send them to the lab. And they will also have for you this little UPS, I think it is now, second day air thing. So you just put everything in here when you're done and go ahead and send it to the lab. You can do this all in one day. They suggest to start dinner time one day and morning the next day, just so you don't have this tedious day where you're having to really pay attention to your fluids and your foods and peeing on these strips. So they have your first sample you take at dinner time, and then bedtime, and then the next morning. And just to make it easier, break it up over, a 24-hour period, but over 2 days. You can do it all in one day if that's easier. They just think sometimes for people, it's a little bit easier. And again, all the instructions are in here. It's pretty easy and straightforward. We just wanted to kind of show you a little bit more about what to expect and a couple little tips, having done so many of these myself. So that's it.